like this. This one, round and then in.
Mm-hmm. On both sides, huh?
Yeah.
So
traditional. Walking over here. Go walk on up.
Yeah.
I got the windows open up there. You can take pictures out the window. And boy, they fixed this, the engineer's panel in the station up nice. They rebuilt the panel here completely.
Now, would this would not have been like the B29s at all, is it?
It's the same panel.
Yeah, same panel?
B29 though is back here. On this, it's right up here.
Okay.
It's that panel is sitting here.
Did they use radio operators on these, or?
Yeah. 5-man crew.
Uh-huh.
2 pilots, navigator, engineer, and a loadmaster.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Radio operator all by himself, navigator all by himself. Now we all do the navigating here because you got clicking radios and cranking frequencies and GPS and all.
Mm-hmm. So would there have been a radio operator station here?
Yeah, it was back here. This was engineer, this was navigator, and the radios were in here. That was a whole bunch of radios here. And we would operate navigator and radio operator back here.
Okay, so would that have actually been a separate station with like a table and everything for the navigator?
There was a big table here.
Oh, okay.
Big table was here. They took it out. They don't need it.
Yeah, so they would face the tables then, right?
This is probably the plugs here for the radios.
Oh, I got it. That makes sense.
The radios were here. There was a big cupboard up here, and this is just a cabinet, and that's just local logbooks and things.
So this is actually where the captain would have sat, huh?
Yep.
Wow. Now these are definitely modern radios.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're modern. They're all modern.
Now, just out of curiosity, what's the rope for?
The what?
The rope.
Oh, it's a bailout.
Bailout?
Yeah, if you got to get out of this thing, it's a long way down to the ground. You don't want to jump or fall.
Oh, okay. So then both of these. Oh, and then this is escape rope. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, definitely a long way.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, this window opens. Take the rope and throw it out the window. It's got knots on it, and the RC54 has them also. And, but one by the door. The C54 has a door behind me over here on this side, and then a big door in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And I made those ropes, but somebody put these together nicely. Little clips in there, brand new, clean.
Mm-hmm. Huh. So pretty much everything's now digital, but nothing. It's the same. Everything's the same.
Yeah, yeah, the same gyro horizons. All the instruments are the same.
I just did a tour of a modern plane, and so this looks familiar to me. It's pretty wild.
I don't know why that spring is hanging off. Oh well. I've never sat in this thing.
No? This is the first time?
Yeah.
Oh wow. How does it feel?
I was the first one to see the airplane. This airplane showed up at an air show at Oshkosh when the doctors had it, and they were flying medical facilities and doing onboard. I guess they're doing surgery on here. Probably not doing surgery here. Probably in the local hospitals in Mexico for cleft lip, the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And this airplane, when they weren't doing that, but then they leased it out, and it was up in Alaska, flying back and forth. Fish come in on the ocean side, and once you get to the opposite side of Alaska, so they big, huge plastic tubs in the back. They loaded up with fish and back and forth. So I guess it was one of the trips when they're bringing the airplane back from Alaska to Texas to do the doctor's thing, a medical assist to the local poor folks in the boondocks down there. They stopped off at Oshkosh at the air show, and I saw this thing sitting on a ramp, and it's old. None of this paint that's on it currently is a brand new paint job. This was done 17 years ago, 17, 18 years ago. So it's a new, old paint job. And Came on board, smelled like fish tanks and all, but that was the first time I saw it. Tim was aware of it, getting another airplane to carry on the Berlin airlift dedication to the Berlin airlift, and in the Cold War. The Berlin airlift was C-54s and DC-3s and a lot of other airplanes brought in by the French and the Brits. And so this was available, and we got together with the doctors that owned it down in Texas, and I don't think Tim had even seen the airplane yet. The three of us, Tim, myself, and our lead mechanic, who rest his soul, he's passed on, is a retired mechanic for Eastern Airlines. Neat guy, Papa Snurf we called him. Little Italian fella, and very colorful, and a little bit of a beard and mustache, and just full of life. And the three of us were supposed to go up there to Seattle, and then from Seattle go out to Moses Lake, rent a car. Moses Lake, Washington, has a runway out there some 12,000 feet long. It's one of the alternate runways for landing for the space people, space shuttle. And it was like going from one world to another, going from Seattle out to Moses Lake, because Moses Lake it's like a desert, tumbleweed and sand, and way off to the west you could see some mountains, and it was another world. And here I am, 100 miles, 200 miles from the Canadian border. And that part of it was just amazing. I couldn't get over the complete change of one world to the next in an hour and a half drive. You're in the middle of the desert, and you're way up there in the Canadian border, of all things. But I took a lot of pictures. I was on this airplane, and I had my little 8mm Super 8. I took a video of the cockpit. There's a hole in the floor down here to get underneath the cockpit. This airplane, the last official duty it had with the Air Force, was a tanker. And strangely enough, it was the let's see, it would be the National Guard of Wisconsin National Guard, the fellow that started the EAA, Experimental Aircraft Association. Now they call it, it's an annual show we have out there with all the warbirds show up, experimental show up, private airplanes show up, acrobatics, all sorts. The Air Venture is the name they give the show now, Air Venture. And it's a 7-day long show. And Paul Berezny, that started the EAA, back to some, in 55, I think it was, 54, 55 he started, 1955, thereabouts, he started the EAA. And Paul Berezny was a commanding officer in the Air Force at that time of the National Guard squadron there in Wisconsin, and he looked at the airplane, and he looked at the N number, and here's the N number right here, 1175 kilo. And he looked up, well, actually it wasn't the N number, they didn't have one then, but it was the tail number on the aircraft, which is a bureau number, and that's on the door promptly in the back, and part of a big plaque, identification plaque. And he saw the bureau number, and he looked at his logbook, and he says, "I flew that airplane." He flew this airplane. This was in the Wisconsin National Guard, and he flew this airplane, and it was just kind of an amazing thing. And it's the only flying airworthy C97 flying, other than another one. There was an operation out there in the Midwest that did a lot of air work with these, and C-130s for water bombers, for forest fires, forestry service, contract work. And they had one of these that was flying actively, and they had big tanks in the back, and they were dumping what they call mud, red mud. It's a fire suppressant they can dump kind of in the lead of the forest fire, and the fire gets up to that and it can't burn, and that hopefully is going to stop it. And they were using one actively, and Tim, when we saw this airplane, and Tim and I went down to Texas, and we signed a contract with the doctor that owned the airplane, and we bought it for an undisclosed amount of money, and then now we had to get the funds and just put out an all points bulletin, and people giving us $100, $500, $5,000 checks, and within 2 years we were able to pay for the airplane, which was a lot of cash to drum up from a little known operation that we had. Just so many people have been so supportive, and Jim is so dedicated. He's been playing with the Berlin airlift. That was an idea that he had back in 1985, I guess it was. And when he got out of the service, he got his licenses to fly and through the VA. And but the Berlin airlift always struck him. He's always been a big history nut, and he's a driven soul. And he started this out just with himself, and got a couple other people involved, and they found an airplane, the DC-4 that we have, the C-54, that's flying actively all over the country, and been over to Germany already on the 100th anniversary of the Berlin airlift, and 50th anniversary, not 100. And Jim is just a driven soul, and you just met him a little while ago, and he's very graceful and gracious, and yeah, but he's determined. He has this and this and this to do, and he has to do it now, and please don't bug me. Please let me finish my project. And that's the way Tim has been that way forever. I met Tim in 93, I guess it was, 93. We had a little air show down in Ocean County, Robert J. Miller Airport, and they had a B-29 Fifi was in there, and from what was then the Confederate Air Force, they had a B-24 and a B-17, and they also had a little remote control airplane thing going on. And my wife and I was just about to retire from the airlines. My wife was a flight attendant with Mohawk with me, and I was walking by this DC-4 that was sitting there. It had Ward Air, Millard Air, or something like that on the side of it, and barely see it through the worn out. The paint was worn off, and it had zinc chromate all over it, and boy, it looked like the wreck of the Hesperus or something. And oh my Lord, I flew C-54s in the Navy, and I'm looking at this, and this is in the 60s. I was flying the C-54. Now it's in the 90s. Another 30 years on that, and my gosh, I wasn't really interested in getting back into that airplane again. And a gentleman that was sitting up in the cockpit on the left side there, and I was walking around kind of looking it over, and he caught my eye, and we were chatting back and forth, and he was a retired tower operator. I think he was probably right here at Kennedy Airport, which is right across the bay from us, here at Floyd Bennett. And he says, come on up here, let me show you this, come on. Oh, his enthusiasm, well, I can't turn him down. He's going for all this effort to capture me, why not? So I go aboard, get up in the side, and the cockpit was very presentable. I was amazed. It was clean, neat, appropriate. It wasn't beat up or abused, and the fellow that had the airplane sold it to us to Tim on a handshake. The C-54, he bought it on a handshake, and he paid for that in 2 years. And so Tim's got a tremendous following, and people have a lot of faith in him, and he doesn't want to disappoint them, and he's always fulfilled his promises, and his wishes have been coming true. And just to see what has been going on with all of these aircraft is just amazing. But it was a lot of ponds to jump over, and a lot of places that you kind of sinking into your knees, but you dig out, and it's just a very small group. And they talked me into, I became, we had a vice president that had been hanging around working with Tim, getting the paperwork and getting things done initially. didn't have very much airplane experience that I was aware of, but here, Tim had me. I flew the C-54 in the Navy and had a type rating, so Tim had a right. So the two of us, with the type ratings, the insurance companies like to see that. It shows a degree of experience and expertise there for a big former World War II airplane, C-54, and so that's how I kind of got into it, and it's been developing and going on. Getting the airplane, this airplane was sitting up in Moses Lake. We bought it, signed the contract, and paid a deposit on it, and now I got to ferry it back down to here, Floyd Bennett. The C-54 was sitting in a hangar that's parked in front of us, and this airplane eventually ended up nose to nose with it in this hangar. This is a big hangar. This used to be the old Coast Guard hangar, and the ramp off to the right, off here far to the right as we look over, and there's apartment buildings over there, and that's probably Canarsie or part of Brooklyn, I guess. And there's a ramp that goes off into the water. That's where the seaplanes would taxi along the bulkhead, and the far end of it is a ramp going down into the water. So all these seaplanes that came into New York came into that parking lot up there.
Similar to the one at LaGuardia, right? They used to.
Yes. Yep.
So, after that.
So this airplane